there seems to be activities that they're powerless over that are sort of, you know, darkening their skies, yes? Thoughts maybe, or feelings that go on and on and on and on, resentments of others, yeah, where actually you're giving that other person a lot of power, just like with the situation with it. So, like, if you go to, like, let's say relative parties, like in America, there's a big thing called Thanksgiving, yeah?
Yeah.
So, usually the person who's dominating the whole event's not even there, like the addict or the alcoholic. So everyone, all the family members are talking about them, yes, and they're not even there. So they're like the biggest presence in the holiday gathering is someone's not even there. So energetically, they're dominating, yes. So like you go, everyone meets and talks about that one uncle, or, you know, the wife, or the, yes, this kind of thing. So it seems all well and good, but if you look at it on another level, like there's a program I'm in that they say, having a resentment is like taking poison to hurt the other person. Yeah, it's sort of like it eats you up. The other person's just going around, doesn't even know that you're resentful of them, maybe. And so there's a lot of giving away of attention and interest. Yes, yeah. Now, and then a lot of us just don't know any better. You just think this is the way it is. There's not much questioning. Yeah, and you're just trying to make do and do the best you can. But you're up against big odds. Yeah. So this sometimes is a way of people getting interested in this idea. So usually what happens is a lot of people, if they've looked for like happiness in like a job, or let's say a relationship, or in their vocation, and they've been disappointed, they start looking for other ideas, and like maybe there's something going on that I'm not aware of, and then a lot of that could be termed in they start having, let's say, a spiritual search, or a spiritual inclination. They think like when I was younger, after a few years of drug use and stuff, it was obvious that the job was going to be inside, just obvious because I had tried to change me from the outside by taking drugs and everything, and I could see the futility of that. So I figured, then I started thinking, I got to look inside, whatever that is, and then I got involved in meditation and another way of seeking, but not this way, so to speak, this way. Now I think they're all both failed, because I went way farther out this way than in this way, but it's basically came to the same conclusion, yeah, that there's something going on that I'm missing that's causing a big effect. And so this message is just a question, the idea of Paul, yeah? Not Paul as the historical figure, but Paul as the daily, what's going on, yeah? So if you look at Paul, and I look at Mike and Nick, there's a lot of differences you can see, yeah? But if you look at, let's say, the basis of Paul, Mike, and Nick, it's the same. Yeah, so the basis of us right here is the same, which is consciousness, something that isn't a thing looking out of eyes, ears, right? Taste, touch, smell, hearing, seeing. Those five experiences of life, which is called consciousness, consciousness in contact. So we all meet there, yeah? So we may not meet after, like Mike may go that way, and his peculiarities will seem to be an identity, his peculiarities identity, and all our identities won't meet, yeah? But if you brought them back to the basic experience, we meet completely, right? Your whole day, whatever it is, wherever it is, Italy, here, whatever, is based on the same thing that this whole day is based on, which is seeing, hearing, feeling, tasting, touching, and then a lot of thinking about it. Yeah, basically, a lot of thinking about everything we smell, taste, touch. Yeah. So there's a lot of mental reaction to the conscious contact. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, so then let's say we start at the separateness, and then maybe there's this beautiful idea of unity. So we're all these separate individual are going to meet in the oneness of whatever. Yes? And it doesn't usually hold water well. Yeah, it's usually someone's more one than you are, and then you're listening to them or worshiping them with the hopes of getting some oneness from them. Yeah, but if you go back, you would see that that's already the condition. Yeah, if you take out the appearances, the basis of living is just that, consciousness, which is, you can't say, oh, there's consciousness, then there isn't, and then there's consciousness. It's not like there's not an amount of consciousness. It's not like in a box, a wooden box, so you could frame it. It's just consciousness. It's just, let's say, an onness, yeah? That's not a thing, yeah? Like onness, awareness, whatever. So the consciousness is there, and then the consciousness appears through all of us. And by its appearance through us, we seem to lose the sense that we are conscious. We are the conscious. And then we say, I'm Paul from New York, and all this bullshit. And then the separations get pronounced, and then there's a weird desire to find union in separation, or through separation, instead of just going back to the basics. We all are that. Yeah? Yeah. We're not all that as this and that. We're all that as that. Yeah, as consciousness. So the seeing, hearing, feeling, tasting, touching. Now, like when you're a kid, you ever see kids?
Yeah.
They grab something, they put right in their mouth. It's just all sense, right? You put rocks in there. Okay, everything is just, and you just, yeah. But as you grow older, something happens to most of us. So when you're really, really young, life is happening, you're just running around. You don't have time. You're not worried, will I be playing next week? Yeah, because time hasn't set up. And you're not thinking like someone's playing better than you, you're just playing. You're not being graded by the playing, How much fun did you have? You're just kids, yeah? And then something develops. I would say it's the mental processes. And then there's an idea that pops up, and it's thought about. And that idea is there's a you that's separate and distinctly different, and then it's thought about quite a lot. So suddenly, and then life is thought about in relation to that. Yeah. So now you start thinking about how things are pertaining to you as a thing. Yeah. So it's called self-centeredness. Everyone seems to have the same format. It's self-centeredness, which is everything that's happening is being sucked in and pertaining to me. Yeah. So like someone gets ill, and then you think, oh, will I get ill? You know what I mean? It's not like, oh, I'm sorry, you immediately refer it back to you. Yeah. Or someone you're hanging out and someone's talking about their mother and you jump in, but my mother, you immediately have to jump in. And it always seems to go, it gets seen as, how is it about me? Yes, yeah. So this is the self-centeredness. And then that consciousness has been forgotten in a sense, yeah? It's taken for granted, let's say. Just like, and it has a quality that's hard to miss. It's always there. See, I mean, it's hard to really see because it's always there, because we see what comes and goes, yeah? I feel good now, the sun, and then the cloud blocks it. Oh, and then I feel bad now, the sun. Then again, I feel, yeah, it goes on and on and on. But the consciousness is just the basis of it. So this message is more about being that consciousness before it turns into the story of this, yes? But it's including the story of this, but it's questioning the obsession with this that excludes the that. The that includes the this, yeah? But when you're in the this, it excludes the that, yeah? You're just totally in this, and it has to sort of exclude to that because it's trying to be the only thing. Yeah. Now that allows the stories to go on, and actually you have more fun out here when it isn't you looking for it all day. Yeah. You know, you just go around. Like yesterday, we just drove around. We parked, got parking spaces everywhere. Oh, we gotta look for coffee. Flywheel, go there. Pretty good coffee. You know, it just goes. Didn't need much thinking. Yeah. Just, and then, you know, you go home. It doesn't need much thinking. And so you're just there, living. And because, in a sense, you've lost interest in all that comes after the conscious contact. You don't lose complete interest. There's plenty of interest in it for it to survive and, you know, maintain. But it doesn't, let's say, you know, you could take 51% of interest off it and it would do just fine. Actually, you'd do better with 50 or below. Yeah? And then have the other attention in it, have the other attention and the interest resting in that which is always available at all times. Why would you want to rest on something that comes and goes when at the exact same moment all these coming and goings are occurring? There's something that's always available at all times. Why wouldn't you? It just seems like a much wiser investment to put your money, which is interest and attention, there, yeah, where it's going to procure interest. The interest and attention will benefit you now instead of being used to enslave you to yesterday's thoughts and tomorrow's thoughts. Yeah, just. I mean, really, the only way, see, this is the dilemma, though, and then it gets a little subtle. Because there's a lot of, in this topic that we're speaking about, it's framed as this idea of non-duality. And we were driving, it was coming in my head. Now, not being a doer, you would think it would be very easy if that which isn't a doer heard it's not the doer. Yeah? You would think, well, it would be pretty direct, you know, just like the lion hearing it's a lion. You would think the lion, even though maybe it's forgotten, seemingly it's a lion, if it just got reminded, hey, you're a lion, it would just snap right in. You're like, I'm a lion. It wouldn't be a giant journey to get back to a lion. It's always been a lion. So in a lot of the spiritual situations, people are presenting this idea like you're not a doer, let's say. There's doing, but you're not a doer. And if you were not a doer, it would seem like, yeah, that would hit you. Just like if you were masquerading as a sheep for 5 years, and then another lion saw you and went, hey, Mr. Sheep, come on over, I want to show you something. Brought you to a body of water and said, let's look at the thing. And when you looked and saw the lion's reflections in yours as a lion, you'd probably wake up from being a sheep. Yeah, you would just say, wow, that was a very long mistake, but now I've seen I'm a lion. Yeah, be clear, no trouble. So you would think if you're not the doer or the thinker or the feeler of what's happening, that you are the feeling, the doing, and the thinking, so to speak. You're everything that's happening, but there's no one it's happening to. It would be easy to get. This is the dilemma for the people that come here. Why does it take so long for the message you're not a doer to get to that which is not a doer? Why is it that it seems to get hijacked by the identification as a doer and just gets neutered? It's like a stillborn. You know, you're promised a baby and you get a dead little idea. Not a baby, but a dead idea. All right, and now you're walking around as the doer trying to say you're not a doer. It just doesn't work. I mean, I've seen it, and people go through incredible gymnastics to make it look like, but it went to the wrong target. Yes, the letter didn't go to where it was directed. It went to, yeah. So this is the problem with these type of talks, in a sense. Not this one, obviously, but others, is that the emphasis is maybe on your consciousness, which we are, obviously. Because if you look at seeing right now, you're not doing it, are you? You're not efforting to see. It's just happening, right? If your eyes are open, you see everything that's there. It's not like, work. It's just seeing, hearing. If your ears are working, you hear tons of stuff. Touch things, wow, you feel this, all different, yes? And so the touching and the feeling, the thinking, the seeing happens without any volition, really. And really, you don't really have anything to do with it, basically. The story of you comes after the consciousness, yeah? So you as Ru, as we call you, or Rufa, if you as that comes after the consciousness. So we're trying to meet as all these separate things, attempting to become united when we're already united as a non-thing, yeah? We're all seeing, hearing, feeling, tasting, touching. And if someone doesn't have, let's say, sight, then the emphasis of hearing gets even more pronounced, supposedly, yes? People who have lost one sense seem to acquire a stronger sense. Yeah. So this whole idea of non-duality is that this feeling, the sense, the reinforcement, the historical story of you could be worn more loosely. Yeah, like you could travel lighter as Rufa if you weren't Rufa. Yeah, it's just that simple. Yeah. Now, everyone wants to travel lighter as Rufa, but see, that doesn't work because Rufa trying to travel lighter is a heaviness in and of itself. You see? So it's sort of like, all right, I'll be happy if Rufa stops thinking, so now you start thinking about how to stop thinking. So you're using the thinking to stop the thinking, yes? So it goes on and on and on. So you get caught in a way with Rufa. Rufa keeps resurfacing. Even if you want to get a little bit away from Rufa, you're getting away from Rufa as Rufa, yes? So you keep going. So you think you got out of Rufa, and then just can't seem to lose your shadow, so to speak. Yeah, yeah, you're going with it. So yeah. So it's sort of like you can't get rid of your shadow, yes, because you're the casting of the shadow. The shadow doesn't exist without you. So but you're trying to get rid of the shadow as with you still here. Yeah. As long as there's you, there's going to be a casting of a shadow. Oh, I don't like the shadow. I don't like the shadow. I'm going to try to get a shadow, and then it's a shadow keeps following you. Yes, yeah. So, but if this was removed, there'd be nothing to cast the shadow. Yes, and I'm not saying it needs to be removed. I'm saying that a loss of interest is like the removal of it. You lose interest in it. You lose, and your attention gets freed from it. So the attention and interest is like the sun, yeah, that's hitting the object that casts the shadow. When the interest and attention gets dispersed, there isn't as much shadow, yes, because it's left here, which creates the shadow, and it goes this way. That's all. And then this does actually quite well, not being the center of the universe. Yeah, because look at this little body cannot be thought about incessantly. It's just too much. It's like burning it with like a magnifying glass all day, going over Rufa. Yes, it's sort of like not healthy. So it's sort of like taking this sun, everything's cool, you know, it's bringing warmth, but if someone had a big magnifying glass and put it on an object, it would incinerate the object. So the light, when the sun is dispersed, everyone enjoys it, but it went. So this is sort of what's happening with our attention. It seems to be constantly refocusing on you, no matter what's happening. I mean, even the escape from you is all about you. See, this is a dilemma. The spiritual journey to leave Rufa stars Rufa almost 99.9% of the way until maybe it happens, and then Rufa seems to disappear. But Rufa will reappear again, and you'll be just left with, I was once away. I lost it somehow, because Rufa can't imagine a story without Rufa. This is what's the dilemma. So the whole message we're speaking about here, and people are thinking, now why am I here? Anyway, speaking cold and this and that. But that would be Rufa thinking once again, yes? Yeah, so because Rufa, the thinking assumes it's the one that's here. So that which thinks it's a doer is assuming to be hearing the message, there is no doer. It doesn't go anywhere, yeah? Unless you can throw it over the head of Rufa to what actually Rufa and Paul and Mary and Michael are. And when that hears the story about Rufa, Yeah? And here's the message, you're not the doer. That which is not the doer gets it. He goes, what? Yeah? And then that what you're not the doer may start bringing us a lot of effects into this life. That it looks like it's coming through Rufa, but it's very clear it's not from Rufa. Yeah? So you start getting, a life starts happening through you, but you're not the cause of it or the source of it. Yeah, it's beautiful, really. An unowned life is beautiful. Unowned, yeah? An unacquired and unrented, whatever, life is beautiful. Yeah? Like a child, like a kid. You're available. You're not gypped anymore. When life comes and offers you something, you're not in the back 40, you're right there. You can receive and give, yes? And even though you have thoughts that are barricading against that love or that whatever to come through, the barricading have no ability to block what's happening. Yes? If you side with the barricade, it will seem as if you're contained and confined. If you don't, it just goes right over the barricades. Yeah? And the barricade's seen as part and parcel of the whole event. They're not obscuring anything or obstructing anything. They're used for obscuring and obstructing, but they don't have the ability to obstruct unless your head is more into that. So we're hoping that enough of us have seen what extreme self-interest has done in our lives, and we would like, and we've seen the impossibility of using interest to get out of interest. You know, if I get really interested in losing interest in Paul, that's interest in Paul. I can't get out of it with it, yeah? Maybe we've come to that point, then there's a possibility that dawns on you. So you lose interest in a beautiful way because you see it's not you, yeah? You see the thoughts don't necessarily imply a thinker. Yeah? You see the feelings don't necessarily imply a feeler. You see even some actions that you would have been tattooed by forever, the guilt and shame would have been harvested for 40 years, become more like henna tattoos. They have their appearance, but they wash off. Yes, yes. And what I find, I call it in a stabilized statement, traveling lighter, as Rufa. And that's all that I want, really. Ultimately, I thought I wanted to be right. I thought I wanted you to be wrong so I could feel like I was right. I thought a lot of things, but most of them were preceded and reinforced by thought. What's happening now, thank God, isn't preceded or reinforced by thought. It just is, yeah? And it's just an incredible invitation. It brought about, like I had this experience when I was younger, when I got struck sober. Yeah? I suddenly stopped drinking and using one day, brought on by an event. Something intervened, and it wasn't a person. Something happened, and Paul and all the momentum Paul had for a destructive life and all the belief that Paul had in this life of using and drinking and drugging, all of that got sort of suspended, and then the little action figure just got turned around and went in another direction, really. It'd been going in one direction, like really with a lot of speed, and suddenly something just went, and it just went in another direction for the last 31 years. Now, in that event and the effects after, I've come to marvel at something. Something did for me what I could not do for myself. Something, and I wouldn't call it a thing, but there was an intervention of an unworldly whatever that put a stop to something that no human could put a stop to. My mother wanted it to stop. I wanted it to stop. The state wanted it to stop. Nothing could stop it. Yet something happened and put an end to it. And I've never had a strong feeling or thought about it, which is amazing, because that's all I had about it for years, was strong feelings and thoughts. I mean, I was obsessive. I was a real addict, in a sense. Yeah? So that just wasn't like compartmentalized and frozen as, oh, that happened. It spread to other possibilities. My mind opened to what was available by that demonstration. And my mind opened to a point where I ran into this idea, non-duality. And then this idea, entertained, over years has just become the last answer. I'm not looking anymore for anything concerning quote-unquote spirituality. I'm not looking to get out, really. I don't have an urge to escape anymore, which is mind-boggling, really. I mean, I'm actually settled here pretty much completely, which I don't think I ever was since I've been 6 or something years old. I was always agitated, wanting to go, wanting something else, wanted to have it special or something, or be better than, or higher than and stuff. And all that's been put to rest, and I haven't had to be put to rest. I'm still cooking, seemingly. And it's wonderful for that to be done before I'm done, yeah? So all that's done, and here I am, you know, in Nevada, living with your sister-in-law, you know? And all the better for it, and all this, and tons of different effects that have blown my mind, really, really have. And so its validity to me is complete. I mean, I don't care if someone came, you know, if the Buddha appeared. I wouldn't care right now. I wouldn't be moved to seek the Buddha. I wouldn't. Oh, the Buddha was in Tam Junction. No, it's fucking great. I'm happy that he was. You know what I mean? Yeah, stuff like that. So it's been really, and by its effects, I know its authenticity, really. Yeah, like Jesus says, you'll know the tree by its fruits. Yeah. So by tasting the fruits, you can get to know the tree. And the fruits of this tree have been very sound and really not based on circumstances and situations and things that come and go. Just the reliability, because they're inherently so. Yeah. In other words, I'm not a cause to that. Yeah. I'm an effect. Yeah. And as an effect, I cannot affect the cause. When I'm the cause, I think I can affect everything. But I'm not the cause. I'm an effect. I'm an expression of that which I can't see, hear, feel, taste, or touch. I'm an expression of that. Yeah? So I know when it's moving through, which is 24 hours a day, really. And therefore, I know I'm not the doer, even though this doesn't. Yeah? This thinks it's the doer because that's its programming. And I don't care. I can live through its a little fear of, oh, I did something wrong or whatever. I can just sit there and let it go, because it's going to dissipate, because the story doesn't have my breath in it anymore. I'm not breathing life into it. So it's living on its old knee-jerk. Just like when I travel and I go through customs, because I was arrested so much when I was young, I'm feeling like Interpol is going to pull me in and grill me. You know, my body gets nervous, not so much anymore. But for the first years, you're up 17 hours, you get on, you're thinking they'll just feel like, oh no, surrender, you know, like preemptive giving up because I feel like I'm wrong. Yeah, this is ingrained in this action figure. So that comes up, does this, am I wrong? No. Does it feel like it's wrong? Yes. Do they can they both appear at one time? Well, one doesn't appear, it's always there. Therefore, this is an appearance which it won't be always there. So, just lean this way instead of leaning this way. And why would I want to lean in that which is coming and going? I'd much rather lean in what's always available at all times. Yeah? So that maybe I can see coming and goings from a different position. Yeah. So I won't have a desire to control it, because the coming and goings are so important about my comings and goings. But if I'm not coming and going, I lose interest in the comings and goings. And I gain interest in what? I don't know today. Yeah? I'm totally interested in everyone here. Looking at everyone, well, complete contact, no effort or thought. Completely interested in Saturday in Marin City, because there's nothing else. Yeah? Beautiful to me. You cannot believe how much it's unbelievable when you're all here. It is. Not as roofer, but as what you are. And I'm saying you're inherently all here at all times. It's not like a giant heroic journey to arrive there. That's the fact. We're all here. The mental state just tries to take little crumbs of attention and interest and just run with it. Just have you keep, blah, 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 blah. But all that something adds up to nothing. Right where you are is all there is. Yeah. And to be available to that is like always being at the dinner table. With gratitude, ready, you got the knives and forks, let's go. Yeah? You're not looking what they're eating today, you'll maybe eating tomorrow. Yes, there's no fucking race or anything. So, yeah. I don't know if this got any, but this is it's very disarming. Yeah, it's not a call to arms. I'm tired. I've tried so many things. I've tried so many things that unclear followers think it demands more and more and more and more. I don't care. If I miss the fucking big spiritual bus, it's fine with me. I'm not going there. What was revealed to me, I feel like I have the ability to honor it, and honoring it means to freaking disarm. Just see what happens. Yeah? And I think it's enriched my life greatly, without any thought or effort on my part. Yeah? So I was just asked to do that in Temecula too. The lion and the sheep. All right. Slow? All right. Well, you can watch. No, I did it on the unseen Temecula video. All right. The lion and the sheep. How I got introduced to it was by a guy, Papaji. You ever hear of Papaji? He knew Raman Maharshi for a short, I think a day, you seen him. But then he knew him supposedly all his life. But Papaji, and so Papaji, and it's an old Hindu story, which is the sheep and the lion. Now I've changed it up. So, but the basic story is a simple way of communicating what we've just been saying. So there's a lion, mother lion and a lion cub, yes? And they're roaming around, doing their thing. The cub's pretty young, and then the mother gets killed. So now the cub, young lion's orphaned. So it's roaming around, it really doesn't know what's going on, it can't really fend for itself. And it sees a herd of sheep. So it starts moving towards the sheep. Now the sheep knows it's a lion, they get a little anxious, but then they realize that the lion doesn't even seem to know it's a lion. So the lion sort of makes friends with the sheep, starts rubbing against them and everything. So the sheep bring them into the herd, and then the lion starts, living like a sheep. It's chewing cud, it's not that happy, but it's chewing the grass. And all the sheep are complaining who's going to be the next sweater next year, and and they're curling his hair, and he's just like, well, he doesn't know any better, so he starts living like a sheep as best he can. But it's there's like a discomfort, irritability, restlessness. But what happens is he meets a female sheep, and they get married, and then they have babies. The babies look a little strange, but they rationalize that away. And he keeps going up the hierarchy of the flock, the herd, and he becomes like an elder, this lion. So he's like a big elder in the sheep community, People come to ask for sheep advice and everything, and he's doing its thing. And then one day they're in another big meadow, and this old big lion comes running down, and he's going after the sheep, and he sees the young lion, and he thinks the young lion's joined the hunt, but then he realizes the young lion's running with the sheep. So he veers off and he grabs the young lion. The young lion rolls over and goes, "Oh, Mr. Lion, please don't eat me. I'm a humble sheep." Now the lion's a little perplexed. So he just grabs the young lion, drags it to the waterhole, puts both of their heads over, and the young lion sees the reflection. Yeah? So the old lion goes roar, and the young lion roars. Now the young lion hadn't roared in 5 or 6 years. because he hadn't entertained the possibility as a sheep it could roar. But as soon as he saw that he wasn't a sheep, his nature, always available at all times, of a lion suddenly was available. Doesn't mean it wasn't there, it was available, because he was up the ass of being a sheep. So therefore the lion, so he just roared. Yes, so this is the message. And so the fundamental, and then you have to take it a little farther, because when you go to a meeting about being a lion, yes, oh, you would think, hey, we're all lions, and then someone, I mean, it's not a big, heavy job, hey, you're a lion, you know, it'd be pretty direct communication. But see, the quickness of the identification as the sheep, yeah, happens so fast that you start out as a sheep. You're not starting out as a lion. So when you hear the message, you're a lion, you hear it as a sheep. This is what neuters the message, yes? And the speed of the sheep placing as the lion is so fast, there's nothing, I believe, you can do, yeah, to undo that. All the doing will be claimed to be the sheep doing it, yes? So I don't believe a process can beat the mental process of selfing. I just don't. I don't think it's, because when you're doing the most noble act, let's say meditation, there's a sense that you're the meditator, yeah? So the meditation is claimed, just like everything else, to imply the meditator, yeah? So everything that you're doing is being claimed as you're the doer of it as a sheep. Even though you're a lion, you're acting, you're taking yourself to be a sheep, yeah? By the claiming of all that you're doing, yeah? So all you're doing is says, oh, it's a sheep doing it. It's a sheep thinking it. It's a sheep feeling it, yes? So therefore, you're a sheep, seemingly, all the while being a lion. So the second thing is, and then some sheep, lions, aka sheep, maybe they feel this yearning that they could be something else, so then maybe they find a book about lions, and they start reading about lions, and they go, wow, it sounds great. I'd love to kick some ass and fucking not take the shit anymore that sheeps have to. Yeah, and they gather together a few other disgruntled sheep, who are all lions underneath, and they they have meetings about being a lion. You know, let's become a lion. And they find some pictures of lions, and they put them in beautiful frames and candles, and I'm a lion, I'm a lion, I'm a lion, all the while as a sheep chanting, I'm a lion, I'm a lion, I'm a lion. And then, you know, and they're going on, and they're having roaring lessons, and, you know, they sound like sheep, but they're bah, bah, oh, you're sounding better, and they're straightening their hair and all this shit. And between themselves, they're getting a lot of kudos, you know, like, yeah, you're doing great, Norm. You're fucking great. You're going to become like a lion in 5 lifetimes or something. Maybe 5 or 8. You know, oh, okay. All the while, they are what they're seeking for. See, they are a lion, but they're in the act of being identified as a sheep that wants to become like a lion. Yes, this is the whole point of spirituality. We're just questioning. We're not questioning. I don't want to hear about being a lion. I want to hear about what it's like to be a sheep, so that the lion goes, hey, wait a minute. I'm not a sheep. And then, therefore, what is it? A lion. And when is it a lion? Now. Where? Here. Yes? And has that been the case the whole time? Yes. Was he ever a sheep? No. Is he going to be a sheep again? No. Yeah? You can act like a sheep as much as you want. You can believe you're a sheep. It doesn't change the fact that you're a lion. But the real weird thing is when the lion, as a sheep, wants to become like a lion. That's a cosmic joke that you're a butt of. Yeah. So this is just a correction of that. And if it works, it works. If it doesn't, then even if that doesn't, trying to become a lion as a sheep will work. Because it will fail you. Yeah, it will. It will fail you, and in the failing of, I've worked so freaking hard and nothing's really changed, well, that's why, because you are what you're looking for already. You're using what you're looking for to look for it. It's a fundamental little boo-boo. It's corrected now, and see what happens. So now you get the whole thing is you're still on the game board, but then you realize you've been the starting point was square 3. You were just mistaken. And then all that you were looking for and all the other squares were behind you. And actually they're not behind you, because when you realize you're not on square 3, you find out you're on square 0. And then when you realize you're not on square 84, the realization is you're square 0. Then you realize that all the other squares appear in square 0. Square 0 is the source of all the other squares, yeah? You've never left where you're hoping to get to. So, why not try it? Jesus Christ. Everyone's acquiring so many somethings that add up to nothing. Just stay with nothing for a while. For a while. Don't just go, I enjoyed nothing for a week and now I'm on to something, you know. No, maybe just entertain it, let it take you where it's going to take you. Yeah? And you see, I think really, our interest and attention is always being, it's not ours, the interest and attention is always being called to noble endeavors in time, to be absorbed and taken from this moment, in a sense, where we're just so busy arriving somewhere, we forget where we are. And it's just a shame, in a sense. Yeah. And I think it's a robbery, really, or a slavery. And then all these theirs that we shoot for, you have to admit, when you get to that there, it's here. Yeah. It's the same here that you were denying to get to that there. As soon as you arrive at there, it's here. So what happens? It denies that there, and then you go to another. It's just slavery. Yeah. So, yeah. So that food last night, I enjoyed every bite of it, because it wasn't me enjoying it. I did. There's so many different tastes. We got my favorite table with no thought of effort. Parking spaces and no thought of effort. Good coffee with no thought of effort. Nice shirt with no thought and effort. I mean, really. There wasn't much need for thought and effort, was there? No. I think we navigated the day pretty well. And today, yeah. This is like a ship with no captain. Right? It fucking goes where it goes. It's cool. It's cool. All right, well, that's that, I think. Yeah. Any questions?
Yeah, I got one. Is in the recovery, there's a way that it seems that much of the in recovery, when you acknowledge your character defects for the week, let's say, and I turn it over to my higher power. I know for myself, there's very often a kind of turn it over to the higher power, that is the self, getting to be a better self. It's not questioning the action figure.
Yeah,
and,
sure.
and yet that's available to be in that moment, to instead of sitting back, instead of leaning forward to be a better self, to be a less burdened self, is also to do. But very little momentum in the standard recovery movement to go beyond questioning obsession with self to acknowledging identification with self.
Well, right now, but it's changing.
But it's moving.
Yes.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to move much. It's
a seeming.
Yes, a very small moving is a huge move. Just a possibility. All that really is possibility, yeah? Because the mental state is confined with a very limited field of possibility. It does. Self-centeredness, any possibility that's available is injected with time. So now I will be okay becomes the dominant thing, or I have memories I was once okay. This is what it does. This is what a system does. This is just the possibilities. What it does, your myopic vision opens up and you see more possibilities. Like the biggest one as a demonstration, as like a teaching tool, was when I saw in the language of recovery that being convinced that self manifested, when I saw self as representing a foreign installment, or like a parasitical movement, but distinctly other than what I am, not who I am, but what I am. Once I saw that, immediately the possibility I could be free from that, which I'm not, became available. Just like that. It had been waiting there. All it needed was this little click, because if you're identified as it, yeah, the freedom from isn't available. You're searching for a freedom for it, or with it, or by it, or as it, yes? But the real freedom is from it. As soon as you see it as other, you can see it as from. If you're identified, it's included in your search for freedom. You want to be free as this. That's the limiting factor. That's what neutered so many possibilities, is that you're including this in everything. You're including this to get that it's not a doer. You're waiting on it to realize it's not a doer. This is its fucking programming. It's a doer. Its programming is it believes it has free will. Why would you waste hours and hours of seminars convincing what's not you? Yeah? Just convince, just allow what you are to be convinced of what it's not, instead of trying to convince what it's not what it is. Just convince. It's not convinced, it's being convinced. Allow it to be convinced right now of what it's not. Yeah? Instead of working so hard to convince what we're not, to be convinced what it is. You're not the doer, you're light, you're this. It doesn't, this gets itself to be the doer. No one else took a shit in the toilet than me today. Yes? It feels like it's the doer. So this idea of, oh, we're going to have an 8-week seminar to convince what we're not, it's not what we, it's just pointless. Just let what you are see what you're not, and let it come up with its own conclusion. Yeah? See if there's anyone there that it's not. All there is pointing. There's no, like in Zen there says the finger pointing at the moon. At least there's a moon in that example. This has no moon. It's just pointing. Thinker, feeler, doer, thinker. There's no, you never get a picture of who's the thinker, feeler, doer. This is the outpicturing of the image the mind comes up with, is this. That's all it is. This is the composite of all the claiming. Yeah? You can see the doer. You see the thinker with a body. You see the feeler. That's it. The case is closed. This is real as real can be. But see, it's convincing a jury of all bodies. So they're already inclined, yes, this is real, this is, yes. You're trying to convince a body it's not a body. Forget it. Let the case go to the court of light, not to the court of the freaking brain and body. You're going to lose. You're not going to set a precedent here. There are not going to be millions of bodies getting they're not a doer. They're not. Forget it. Forget it. You're not going to convince, you're not even going to convince one body. It's, you know, maybe in a sealed situation of a temple and this and that, but let it out. It's fucking body, you know, do it. Yeah, it's pointless. We tried. I chanted I'm not a body as a body for a lot of days. Didn't go anywhere. It just reinforced the idea of being a body. So this is about not wasting any more time by attempting to convince or get ready or get prepared what you're not to receive what it is. There's no receiving. You got the wrong welcome home, the home welcome basket. You got the wrong one. What you are sees what you're not. What you're not's never going to see what you are. Yeah? Yeah. That's my humble thing. I could be completely wrong, but I'm going to stick with it. So find if it's right for you. Does it make any sense to try to convince what's never going to be thoroughly convinced? As long as there's thoughts, there's going to be a sense of being the thinker. As long as there's feelings, there's going to be a claiming. Those feelers imply a feeling. Yeah, it's going to happen, yeah? As long as there's living, there's going to be someone being projected as the living. Yeah? Why bring it to another point? What I'm not, yeah, can be seen by what I am. What I'm not's never going to see what I am, but what I am is seeing what I'm not all freaking day. And all it is activities. There is no noun that's not me. It's all activities that are implying a noun. That's all it is. Yeah. It doesn't matter if it succeeds in these 80 years. This is nothing. Time is nothing. I've got to get it. You don't have to get it. It's been implanted already. It's already gotten. The spiritual subpoena's already been served. You're playing all past events out. It's already gone, complete. It's done. This is like a syndication of a show you left 5 years ago. You're still sticking in front of the TV watching the reruns. It's already been canceled. You moved on to a bigger role, which is everything. This is just a trick in time. So why not travel a little lighter today? Enjoy a latte or something. That's where it demonstrated. It isn't demonstrated, it's just being able to enjoy, be available, understand what someone else is saying. You're in that, your interest is there. And interest, when it's dispersed, it sort of weakens in a way. So the mental state, that's what it does. It disperses attention and interest into fucking insane ideas. 40 years ago, 37 years ago, if I wouldn't have got hit by the car, which I did, everything would be great now. I'd be surfing right now, blah, 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 but I'm not. See, I'm missing a big point. I did get run over by a car. See, it likes to forget these things and go off on its little mental tangents. If I didn't have any kids, but you do have kids. If my husband wasn't here, but he is here. It's just like on and on. It's always hoping something is absent. Now, the other way around is different, completely different. Everything is included. Nothing has to be absent for this to be available. Nothing. There's no requirement for being what you are. There's no requirement set. There's no stipulation that has to be met. In the mental state to be what you are, a lot of things have to be absent. A lot of things have to go other ways. A lot of people can't be. Yes, it's always has no power to remove any of this shit. So its whole thing is a pipe dream. It would be great if you didn't get run over, but I got fucking run over. I can't get over that seeming mental speed bump. I see my leg. You'd be a pro ballerina dancer or something. This ain't gonna look good with those leotards. They won't be watching my move. They'll be looking, what's that fucking thing? It's like it's bent out. Yeah, you can't. Yes. So the head has, it would have been great, but that's not the way it is. The way it is, everything is included. Nothing has to be, all I need to do is get rid of this one thing. No, it's not like that. It isn't. That's the fucking story of the mental state, because it'll be one thing or another thing. Yeah? I can't wait to get rid of that guy. Then you get another guy. I can't get rid of that guy. It's always about getting rid of. Yes, isn't it? It's always, there's something that's stopping it from being great. It's not me. It's something. This leg or something. It always needs pieces that are missing. It does. It promises you fucking incredible things, but if you only have this, or if you didn't have money, or you didn't have to work, yes, that's all meant. What I'm talking, this is different. This is inclusive. This is trying to get rid of shit, and then everything will be great. Everything's great inherently. Yeah. So, you want to shut it off?
Are we done?
Yes. I'm done. I think I gave 3 talks.